he disrespected them, but he always showed concern for them. The way he killed the shape changer for killing one of his men. Hey everybody, welcome back to the Stoneface Reactions. I'm Theta, and we're here with another episode of Visions of Escaflowne. Sorry, Escaflowne. Escaflowne was what I was saying in the first few episodes before I actually realized that Escaflowne is how it's pronounced. I think I was saying Escaflowne before everything else and then thought that was wrong. So here we are, back at the beginning again, full circle. Of course, I have a board. Here is that board. And with said board comes the board changelog, where I've added Dryden Fossa, and I marked the Dragon Slayers as dead. I would say all of the Dragon Slayers, but my boy Delandu down here, still alive, probably until the end of this episode, I assume. I have a note about that, but kind of disappointed. Kind of disappointed that the Dragon Slayers met their end that way. Especially with like one-shot scenes of each of them meeting their end, because I know they're not like a well-established character group, right? They've been present, but I feel like we've, I can't remember if it was Gaddy or Shesta, that have been established all this time, like being built up to like the lackeys of Delandu that like report to him and then get like slapped and kicked around by him, but feel like genuinely they care. Like they warn him, like, "Hey, are you going a little bit too far? Hey, you know anything about that scar?" Da 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 da. Right? And now it's like if the crew of, sorry, I can't now remember the name of the ship. Alan's crew. If Alan's crew suddenly all died, like I feel like most of them, not some of them, like some of them get a lot more screen time than others. Most of them are on the level of the Dragon Slayers. If they all just suddenly got murdered in like one back-to-back shot, you'd feel a little bit disappointed, I feel like. And I guess maybe my connection to the Dragon Slayers by the fact of I was drawn as their leader makes me feel that level of disappointment. Like, they're not the good guys. They are bad guys. But they're the bad guys I've been associated with by the work of my artist. So, I don't know. The level of that there. But yeah, to my notes. I wonder what Amino is up to right now. They went out of their way to remind us that he was still around with the pager thing a few episodes back. They could have let him fade from memory, but they didn't. Makes me wonder if he's coming back or not. Like, he couldn't do anything, but he represents Hitomi's connection to Earth and all, so it's not nothing to bring him up. I feel like being a Draconian for Vaughn is the same level of stigma the Elric brothers get in Full Metal Alchemist for having attempted human transmutation. Everyone says it's a bad thing and to never let anyone know, but everyone that finds out either doesn't care or becomes more sympathetic. Today's card, Il Viginet, Vignetti? Vignetti? I don't know. Sorry, Italian, one of the many languages I do not speak. It represents the seer, though. Alan suggests that everything around him serves as a reminder of him. The only person I can think of that he could mean, through context, would be his father, who Hitomi read that he would have a confrontation with at some point. Not sure why a Draconian would make him think of that, though. So, making a blood pact with an Ipsanu Gaiamelf means having greater control over it, and the possibility that it might act on its own when you are incapacitated, with the trade-off of every wound it receives, you receive. That feels like it'd be worse for you. It's a massive mecha, a far easier target than anything else. Especially considering that other Gaiamelf pilots aren't being hindered by pain when they get struck. Like, you might be faster at piloting, but you'll probably freeze up when struck. The trade-off doesn't seem worthwhile. And obviously, there's another element at play that I don't think I mentioned anywhere else. The blood not being compatible or something like that. The engineers bring it up before they leave, and it's kind of what leads to the end of the episode when um, one of the sorry, not one of Delandu's hits him like across the cheek of the Escaflowne, and it splatters blood on the inside of the cockpit, and that's what seems to lead to the visions and the passing out thing. But also, the element that literally it got scraped and the dude's cheek opened up, implying that, like, what if a bunch of people with spears on the ground started stabbing the Escaflowne? That he would be, like, getting pins and needles all through his leg, which I have to think would slow him down a little bit. It's not a good trade-off. Well, I've guessed that Dornkirk may be on or from Earth, or even in the past. So why not now guess that he's in the future? When Sheed activates the Atlantean device and the green light spews out from the mountain, it then also spews out from the Zybok Capitol building. That would imply that both things are sympathetic to one another. One causes the other. Or that they are the same thing. Thus my theory about the future, that the Zybok Capitol is built over this mountain. So when it is activated in the past, it gets activated in the future as well. Or, technically, it never gets turned off, so it just has always been active in the changed timeline. So when Dornkirk talks about seeing his future, he's talking about the future he currently is in, his present. That he's doing a Biff Tannen from Back to the Future to change events to go his way. Ideally, if you're Delandu, you take this moment, I'm talking about the end of the episode, to hit Van when he's down. Obviously that won't work because Van is a main character and Delandu is the enemy. But I don't know what else you do here as Delandu. He's not going to be genre savvy to know not to attack. Then again, he might just be frozen with fright at this point, and nothing is going to happen. Or he'll run away and Fulkin will be the one that takes care of him. Either way, don't think the guy I got drawn as is much longer for the show. Actually, that was my last note, because that implies that the whole thing I went over about the unsatisfactory nature of the Dragon Slayers being killed wasn't the thing I had a note about. So it's a good thing that I brought it up when I did, because otherwise I wouldn't have talked about it at all. That said, though, those are my notes. That's the board. That's basically everything. So let's go ahead and hop on in and see what we get this episode.
But before we get started,
make sure that you hit the like button,
hit that subscribe button,
comment down below to feed that algorithm.
On top of all that, if you want to watch more shows like this, unfiltered,
uncensored,
and uncut,
as well as some early access stuff,
you can check it out over on the Patreon.
It's just $5 a month, but hey, no pressure.
There's zero pressure in order to do that. It's just a little bit of extra support, and it would be greatly appreciated.
Again, though, what I'm talking about with Amino, he's in the opening, I'm pretty sure, unless I'm misremembering that, which means that by the purposes of including him in literally every episode, by that nature, they also don't want us to forget about him. Even though, obviously, the focus on this love opening is Vaughn and Alan. Even though Alan's got such a huge fucking triangle going on. To be fair, Vaughn has Merle. But I have to believe he recognized that Hitomi... Well, I don't know. Hitomi is actually more about Alan than she is Vaughn. Even though she's just freaking out about Vaughn all last episode. Maybe I'm wrong. Is Amano only in the ending? Sorry, I remember he's in the ending. Well, I guess technically that still means he's as in every episode as the opening. People might skip the ending more than the opening, but technically it's still part of everything. Anyway, my point being is that I feel bad for Amino, because he didn't do anything wrong, really, right? He was as in on the relationship as anything. Okay, I guess Delandu just did back off of the battlefield. Surprised Hitomi's not, like, drowning in a vision right now. Oh, never mind, she's drowning in the literal mech. Okay, literally exactly what I expected. La Stella. Star? Star? Those are Astorians? Yeah, the hat looks like the same hat the king wears. Oh, and the Dragon Slayers. Is this a vision, or is she literally walking to hell with everybody? That guy in front of Vaughn was one of the generals from Fanilia. Very reminiscent of Hades. Or I guess the walk to Hades. Okay, more vision, less really happening. Delandu, why did you just walk away from this? How did your vision of Vaughn walking to death bring you to Atlantis? Or your mind to Atlantis? Obviously, you're still back on Gaia. The structure in the background very much looks like the Zybok Capitol building. Just, you know, theirs is like a darker version. It's a somewhat odd take that our vision of heaven is just Atlantis. I mean, he legit went into a berserker rage. He could be afraid of himself now. Also, I think I understand. This is all Vaughn's psyche that she's inside of. Did Dornkirk rebuild Atlantis, and that's why everything looks Atlantean? In the capital of Zybok, I mean? Or is it's like a Nadia situation that Dornkirk is like the last Atlantean? Well, it can't be the last. There's Draconians here. But the last original Atlantean? You dumb broad. guess when in doubt, slap a bitch up. See, that looks a lot more like the Zybok capital now. I hope it's not going to be something as simple as they're the people that moved into Atlantis after Atlantis fell. By the way, I don't know why I'm making all of these guesses about a place that's very specifically seems to be only in Van's mind. Why purple eyes to denote that? Oh, because her pupils are purple. So it's just like being wide-eyed or dilated. See, again, at the end of the day, he's always shown concern for them. He disrespected them, but he always showed concern for them. The way he killed the shape changer for killing one of his men.
竜でございますか。
いかにも竜の運命は霧に包まれむしろ霞んでおる。
お任せください。すでに次の手を打ってございます。
竜を捕らえろ。
God, this communication system would give me an epileptic shock. By the way, I'm assuming that the blonde kid, or whatever the backstory vision was there, was Delandu before he sent his hair all white. You've killed people before. It's actually going to be that the Escaflowne is actually having PTSD, and it's being expressed through Van.
でもあれからずっとあんな感じで。
剣士たる者が乗り越えなければならない試練。
え？
私にも覚えがあります。うぬぼれと傲慢が己を恐怖の霧に誘い込む。
近頃剣士相手に勝負を挑む小僧とは貴様のことか。
Yeah, Balgus becoming his teacher.
有り金全部置いてきな。そうすりゃ命だけは助けてやる。
少しは腕に覚えがあるようだな。名を聞こうか。
アレン・シェザール。勝負。はあ。
良い立ち筋だ。がしかし技に溺れし貴様の
It's always weird
光は見えぬ。
when the guy who dies earliest is the guy who's, you know, strongest of all. How easy Balgus went down, not easy. He went out like a badass. I'm not taking that away from him. How quickly he went down. And then he has to be expressed through backstory segments to show us how actually badass he really was.
そんなことありません。アレンさん立派だし強いし優しいし、私 私剣のこととかよくわからないし、あいつは私の言うことなんて聞いてくれないと思うけど、アレンさんならきっとバーンも。だって
I mean, you did
アレン
already.
さんは素敵だし、みんなから慕わ
The
れて
whole
るし、
don't sacrifice yourself
そ
for
れに
things that don't
私アレン
save
さん
other
のこと
people.
好きだし、バーンのことよろしくお願いします。
好きか。
Cool.
君は時と
Another
して
one.
悪魔に見えるよ、瞳。
You know, I keep saying another one, but I keep not remembering everybody who's in love with Alan. There's only one other person right now. It's not really another one.
エスカフローネ。そしてパワースポットを狙うザイバッハ。立て続けに現れる奇妙な出来事。ああ、こそばゆい。なんか引っかかるな。
ドライデン、ありがとう。
何が？
Oh, that's right. They're still on his ship.
社交辞令なら
I thought they were back on the other ship.
頭を下げるのはただだからな。
そんな言い方、あなたを見直して今までの比例を詫びようと思ってましたのに。
それそれ、そっちの方が絶対あんたらしいわ。こっちはもちろん下心ありあり、気を引くためなら何だってするぜ。
だけど私は。
アレンか、構わないさ。俺はな、欲しいものは必ず手に入れる。
I mean, you're technically already in an arranged marriage.
ま、いいわ。代わりにと言っちゃなんだけどよ。一つお願いがあるんだわ。
え？
書斎に残っていた父の最後の公開日誌だ。
おお、
You're just
これ
like
これ。
so high up in the sky right now. How are moths still a problem for
立つ
you?
立つ。これであんたらにまつわる謎がすべて解けるかもしれんのだ。
謎？
アトランティスだ。
アトランティス？
あんたの父君がアトランティスの秘宝を追っていた話は親父からよく聞かされていたからな。あ、これちょっとお借りしたか。
Well, I guess that's why Vaughn remembers, not remembers, Vaughn was reminded, sorry, why Alan was reminded of his father by Vaughn turning or showing his Draconian element.
そうですね。確かに。
Because Draconians are associated with Atlantis.
はあ、もうなんであそこで行っちゃうかな。これじゃあただの軽薄女じゃない。瞳？ミラーナさん、私のお友達のことで相談があるんだけど。はい。その子付き合ってる男性がいるんだけど、実はその人プレイボーイで隠し子までいたことが発覚したらしくって。最低。最後まで聞いてよ。はい。だけどその子には別な男性がお金持ちで優しい人らしい。
This is really weird.
好きだって言ってくれていて。うんうん。バレバレじゃないの、あのバカ。
Melina left everything behind because she said she was in love with Alan. It feels really weird for her to just suddenly fall for another guy, implying what her sister said was right about her.
だって男の風上にも置けないじゃない。女の人なら誰でもいいって感じ。でも素敵な人なのよ。もう一人の方はそうじゃないの？
It very much feels like they're trying to set her up to actually be with Dryden, so that Hitomi can wind up with Alan.
じゃあ負けずに二股かけるっていうのはどう？不死だらな。両方とも諦めるっていうのはどう？悲劇のヒロイン。そんな人事ですけど、その子が今まで高めてきた気持ちはどうなるの？結局そこが問題か。なんだかんだ言っても自分の気持ちに従うのが一番自然な形だもんね。自分の気持ち占ってみようか。どっちの人がその子にふさわしいか。人のはよく当たるの。
バカじゃないの？何が占いよ。あんた人の占いする前に自分の気持ちをはっきりさせたらどう？
私の気持ち。
Why would you say that?
アン様とアレンさんとどっちが好きなの
You
よ。
want her not to be with Vaughn, so Why would you encourage her to figure anything out?
どうなのよ。
私が好きなのはアレンさんよ。バーンは心配っていうだけで。心配。本当にそれだけ？
Yeah, I mean, heavily implied that you are interested in Van.
アレンはあなたには無理です。
Vaughn.
わからない。
姉貴、あれだろ？こんなところ
Oh,
で
that's
会え
right. The
るなん
next
て。
time on, I had like cat girls.
これが私たちの幸運ってやつ。フォルケン様への手土産に挨拶してやろうよ。そりゃいい。
What the fuck has Lord Falcon been? Not sorry, Falcon. What the fuck has Falcon been doing all this time? We have such weird, eclectic allies.
でもってうちのカカに見つかってよ。ついてねえな。
Wasn't me.
ここにエスカフローネっていう外名機がいるだろう。さっさと出しな。言うことを聞かなきゃ。皆殺しだよ。
おかしらー。サイバーハのガイメルフが。
Those do not look like Cybok guy melts.
よし。
That has like that question for me of like what happens if you're in the if you're like in the driver's seat of a transformer that transforms. Like, how did you go from strapped in to standing on the top? Also, a stupid thought that enters my head. Their guy melts have like long flowing hair. Does that mean that they had to take that from a creature that has that hair that long? Does it matter? I mean, he's hesitating for the stupidest of reasons. Okay, that's a better reason, PTSD one, but not attacking them because they're women. Don't talk shit about my guy. Yeah, I get to talk shit about my guy. They're gonna be related. They're gonna be related, I bet. Oh no, just a similar stance.
バーン様を殺させない。
メルル。
なんだか気分がそがれちゃって。だね、猫じゃね。今日はこれぐらいにしといてやるよ。
You're weak. Also, neither of you would have had that third-party perspective to recognize the position that you just took.
メルル。
For one of you, the position would be looking at somebody with their back, and the other one would be the one doing it.
ご無事でよかった。バーン様。
メルル。
メルル。
Yeah, I mean, Merle's been this way the whole fucking time. We know what Merle's about.
わかったぞ。思った通り全ての謎は幻の谷にあるってことだ。
The place that Hitomi originally got teleported to? No, sorry, I'm thinking Mystic Moon.
幻の谷？
竜神人が住むという伝説の場所だ。
Well, the Atlanteans are from Earth. So does that mean going back to Earth? Sorry, I'm just like left with more questions than anything. For the Mystic Moon, I have to assume the Mystic Valley would be on Earth, because the Atlanteans are from Earth. The Atlanteans that come to Gaia are called Draconians, unless I'm misremembering everything. I'm pretty sure, very specifically, see, there we go, Amino. Sorry, you and YouTube aren't seeing this, because I gotta talk over and cover up the opening and endings, but I very specifically recall, I mean, obviously, I'll go over my notes and everything before next time, and if I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But very specifically, I thought the Atlanteans were from Earth, and after the destruction of their civilization, some of their survivors go to Gaia, and the werewolf guys said there used to be a time where they could go back and forth as well. I say werewolf guys, I think they're just wolf people, the same way that Merle is a cat.
Escaflowne.
Okay. Everything I've been saying about are we going to see Amino again, everything like that, looks like we are going back to Earth. I don't know what the point of showing this person with their back turned. Maybe that's going to be a thing. Maybe, maybe her best friend back on Earth is actually going to be the one who wound up with Amino, and that's why we're seeing her back turned, because they're at a festival together. Although, that would be weird, because he's texting her on her pager, indicating he's still thinking about her. I guess it's just another triangle amongst triangles, right? This is like one of those Trivial Pursuit game pieces where you put all the triangles in to show how many questions you've answered right. The triangle of triangle relationships. That's going to be my guess, that Amino and the best friend are now together. Although it's going to be odd that we're going to be on a floating ship in the middle of modern civilization. You know, jets, helicopters, everything. I guess this is kind of what I asked for from Magic Knight Rayearth near the beginning, near the end of the show. Not, of course, the OVA. The OVA was always on Earth. The OVA went the exact opposite direction. That's what I was asking for from the end of the show. So yeah, maybe this could be really interesting. I'm actually very excited to see what we get here. Sorry, my nose is going crazy. But yeah, although I don't know how this is going to tie into the cat people again. If they go to the Mystic Moon, they're going to leave all this behind. But then again, I guess the threat has to follow them somehow. Unless the threat's already on the ship. I guess Dryden could be himself a threat of some sort. I don't know. I guess this is going to take some reconsideration when I go back into my notes. Because now I'm just trying to play against narrative elements versus what is happening. And I guess technically, maybe that could be near the end of the episode when they go into the beam of light and go to Earth. Because we see Delandu suffering from the element of I don't want to be alone and his whole team having been killed. So we've got to stick on Gaia for a little bit at the very least. I don't know. More questions than answers this time around. Only because I'm already coming in with so many questions and then trying to place those questions into what I'm seeing. Also glad we're being very direct about the relationship issues. I mean, maybe not Milan, maybe not, God, I'm forgetting everyone's names off the top of my head for some reason. Maybe not Malerna. Sorry, Malerna's the name I thought. The fact that her sister's name is Marlene and Malerna, makes it very easy to mix up in my head. Maybe not so much Malerna for having thrown out, my friend is doing this. But, you know, Merle, another M name, is very directly getting on Hitomi about this. So, I don't know. I expect something to finally come of this, even though it very much seems like Hitomi is not being honest with herself about her feelings about Vaughn. But then seeing that Merle is very much more serious about it has to, I think, push her closer towards Alan. Anyway, I think those are basically all my thoughts about this episode. So that said, I think we're going to go ahead and wrap up here for today. So once again, I've been Theta. This has been Stoneface Reactions, and we will catch you next time. Bye-bye.
Hey everybody, thanks for watching another Stoneface Reactions. If you have an idea of another video we could go ahead and watch, go ahead and put it in the comments down below and we'll add it to the wheel. Be sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and let us know what you thought about this video and what parts you liked. And until then, we'll see you next time. Is this too goofy?